birthday chokes.
Birthday chokes.
We're going to work how to finish the triangle. Predominantly on finishing triangles as opposed to setups today. If you're like, oh, that's boring, and you know triangles, then do it on your other side, because usually you've got one side you're really good at and one side you're not so good at, so practice the other side, you never know, you might end up there. Alright, so let's just do a basic setup. We've got closed guard. We're going to break the posture forward like that, and just get an overhook, like so. And then to enter into the triangle, I want you to hip out, like this. You don't have to, this is just like a warm-up, so you don't have to be extremely technical here. Hip out, put on the hip, and then just, so that he's got both hands in. I want to get one hand in, one hand out. So I'm going to shoot my leg through, up, and we're just going to lock up to here. So just as the warm-up, just get to the lock and then set. Like so. And again, break them down, get your overhook, hip out, and shoot leg over. Okay, so let's just warm up. With that, 1 minute each. 3, 2, 1. We're here. However you set it up, there's plenty of different ways to set up a triangle. I'll do the same one just to show it. So I shoot over, and I've just locked up my feet here like this. Now is really important to try to get the right angle to try and finish the triangle. If you just try and squeeze on the head, you'll waste a lot of energy. It's actually a really high energy position to hold. If you have to hold a triangle for like a minute and you don't tap them, you know, this is in a roll or in a competition, you will be absolutely stuffed. So make sure you don't try and squeeze until it's on. Like, don't sit here and go, ah, because I guarantee you, once they get out, you will be absolutely ruined. So make sure you, apart from it being bad technique, but make sure you lock it all up tight. It should, if you're squeezing for 5 seconds and they haven't tapped, it's not tight. So if they haven't tapped up to 5 seconds, relax, adjust, and then replay. Okay. So, in my opinion, the most important thing straight away, once I've locked up my triangle, is to try and break Simon's posture. If Simon stands tall here like this, it's really hard for me to break him down now, and he can start reaching either his left hand through, like that, and start working back in, or he can start trying to take his right hand out, just like that. Yeah, like through like that. Yeah. So for the triangle, I need to keep one hand in and one hand out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to like curl, similar to what we do in closed guard. I'm not straightening my legs here like this. I start curling more towards my heel towards my butt. So now try and reach your hand through. So there should be less room for him to get his hand all the way through, either way, compared to that. Yeah. So yeah. Even half in, they can start to pry out. Okay. So we're going to go just curl in with your feet, and then you're going to be trying to pull your knees to your head. And at the same time, if he's not going with that, then you're trying to sit up. So you'll go for posture. If I can't pull my knees to my head, then I'm sitting up to try and grab his head. I immediately want to start trying to pull his head down as low as I can. So I'll put both hands on the head and hold it down. This now lets me adjust my legs. Okay, I can't adjust my legs here. As soon as I open my legs here, I fall. Okay, once I've broken his posture, I can open my legs, try and escape. Like, it's hard for him to get out. Okay, I don't want to open it for too long, but just enough to adjust. Okay, so I'm going to hold on to the head. From here, keep nice and tight with your knees, and you're going to work your foot onto the hip. Really important. Everyone want to go on this side. This is probably where, at first, you'll leave the most room for someone to escape. When you start trying to, like, I want to eventually get my foot, like, perpendicular to Simon. I'm going to have to put my foot on the hip to do this. If you leave this gap like I'm doing now, Simon can drop his elbow back and he gets out of the triangle, yeah? So I have to, when I put the foot on the hip, so I'm holding here, I want to keep my knees nice and tight and step like that. Pull your elbow back some. Yeah. There's a big difference to going like that, yeah? So do not flare your knee, keep it really tight. So you hold the head, it just pulls on the back of their elbow, sorry, on their tricep, foot goes on the hip. Now, this is a really important part to adjust the triangle. So I'm trying to chop. This is the leg that's going to do most of the choking. So what I want is my hips to come up and that thigh to come really tight across the neck, like that. I should be able to tap with just using my legs, without using my hands, okay? So to get that tight, I'm bridging off my left leg and lift my hips up. That lets me cut right across the neck, like that. I can grab my shin now, lock it off, and we finish. I'll go over some ways people defend and how we deal with that too in a moment, but let's just work that part for now. So you've locked up the triangle, Simon's got posture. Go like this. Make sure you're curling your heels in. We're going to sit up, grab the head with both hands, pull them down. From here, keep your knees nice and tight. To put your foot on the hip, probably you just saw me do that then. I want to move my hip. I can scoot my hips out to the side a bit. That makes it a bit easier. Okay, so sometimes from here, I will have to flare my knee. I don't want that, so I'll open my legs, hip out. Foot goes on the hip, lift, cut that angle. Keep hold of the head when you grab the shin. Come over the top. Don't lock off on the end of your foot. It hurts your foot. Like that. You can sort of ankle lock yourself here. Catch your above your ankle here, like that. And then, when you want to finish, actually we'll go with the finish in a moment. Let's just get to this position, okay? Alright, so just one thing I want you to notice the whole time, you never really let go of their head. You always want to have their posture control. If I start going like this and then go like that, I lose it. Even if you start reaching for your foot but let go of the head, sometimes they posture and you lose that. So I want to hold the head. Even when I'm reaching for the foot, I'm still controlling his posture. Once I've got the foot, that kind of takes care of it. But when I'm reaching for it, I don't want this gap, okay? So let's just practice locking up the triangle first. Alright, 3 minutes each. 3, 2, 1. I used to think because I'm short, the triangles shouldn't really work that well for me because I've got short legs, and I used to get here and I'd try and lock it up, but I'd never be able to lock my feet. And there will still be some people who are just too big for me to do that too. But a lot of it's actually just the technique of how you're applying it. So I want you to just think about this a little bit, and we're going to just work this as well. I'm not trying to triangle over the back of his shoulder here. So even with Simon, who's not that big, if I try to lock up my feet here, I can barely reach over the back of this shoulder. Does that make sense? So we're going to do, usually when you're adjusting, you do a little hip out here, and what you'll see is I'm actually locking up more behind the top of his tricep, almost just near the back, near the front of his, sorry, not the front, the side of his shoulder, in front of the armpit, and the gap here is a lot smaller. I can lock that up way tighter. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if you're finding you're struggling, this is this little. If you're struggling to lock your feet up, which happens a lot, you've got the lock here like this. I want you to keep your knee tight, move your hip, but you're actually trying to slide a little bit away. You'll feel like you're giving it a little bit of space, but you shouldn't be. You're cutting your right leg across, and then we're locking up shin coming just in front of that shoulder. It'll be really tight. I could probably go to almost to the middle of my shin. Well, maybe not quite that much, but because the gap there's a lot narrower. So if someone a bit bigger, you have to make sure you're doing this right. If they're small and skinny, you'll get away with doing it here, but I want you to have good technique, okay? So we're actually just going to start with a real, I want you to just start when we adjust, with a real crappy triangle. Maybe this knee's dropped low and everything. Hold the head, foot goes on the hip, and start hipping out and locking it out so you get in front of that shoulder and lock it nice and tight. Okay, let's just go over the finish. You shouldn't really need your hands. It's generally taught that you take their arm across. Again, you don't actually need that necessarily. More of it, it's 99% of it is just having a tight triangle lock with your legs. So what I'm going to do, once I've got that in position, I tend to stomp down with both feet like this. So my left foot's pulling down towards my butt, my right foot's pulling down, stomping down, basically like that. So I'm curling with my left, stomping with my right. There's a few extra things we can do here. I want to pinch a little bit with my knees, like that. And I also want to try to shift my hips a little bit out to the right. So the way we can do that, we can come under this arm, or under this leg, or even just put our hands on the mat if we need to. But when I shift my hips out to the side, it really drags my right leg into his neck. You alright? Yeah. Does that make sense? So my right leg's the one that's going to do most of the choking. When I cut my hips out to the side, I'm like pulling that thigh into his neck. It's much more powerful when you get under their leg, and then you can like lever off to do that. Alright. Good?
Look,
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thanks. How many is that now?
Alright, so hold the head. I just want you to start out with a bad triangle. You can't lock it up yet. Make sure you can't just straight out lock it up. I want you to foot on the hip, shuffle the hip out, and kind of like move away a little bit from them. Not past their elbow where they can pull their elbow out, but just enough so that when you now go to re-lock it up, you're going to like lock that thigh tight against their neck, and it's going to be in front of the shoulder. Catch, and then we're going to go stomp with the right, curl with the left, and just a little bit of a hip out, like that. If you want to add anything extra, you can pull their arm across. That's supposed to, people say that cuts off the other side of their neck. Maybe that's right. Yeah, I don't think you need both sides of their neck, you just need that right one, nice and good, and snug into their left artery. Alright, let's have a go at that. 3 minutes each on that. 3, 2, 1. Especially because we're starting to, we're here and we're starting to get a little bit closer to them escaping. Sometimes you'll get someone who starts trying to posture and pull back. Yeah, okay, so see here I'm starting to lose the elbow, like that. So we go back a step, because I was adjusting here like this. If Simon manages, if I haven't tightened it up fully yet and he manages to pull that elbow all the way out, he's out of the triangle. Don't ever, try not to ever just get someone's head and squeeze. It hurts them, just pain, but you're not cutting off their artery or anything like that. There's some funny ways you can actually get a choke from here, but just sitting there squeezing, usually he'll eventually get out and he'll be real pissed off at you, and he'll go really hard after that. So you're better off try not to do moves that just hurt. Try and do moves that are actually choking or arm locking or whatever. Okay. So we're here. Simon starts to sort of posture and pull that arm out. I want to just lock tight even here. So I'm not going to probably finish a choke here, but what I've got now is his elbows trapped, his hands right in my view of my grip. So I'm just going to lift my hips up. Try and make sure their thumb points away from you, and then just lift up. You get an arm bar. Usually, you'll see Verdum did this against Fedor. So sometimes they'll, if you go for this, if they drive back in towards you now, you can pull it back across, and then you get a nice triangle choke there too. So they're kind of damned if they pull away, damned if they drive in too. But that's the way you tend to work it. So you go here, you're going to set it up, they start to posture and pull away, lock it nice and tight, pull the arm. If the elbow's on a funny angle, let's say it was out here, sometimes going straight down is not going to work. Just push in the direction of the pinky finger, so it can be out that way to finish sometimes, okay? But generally, if you can rotate it so their thumb's up, you'll be able to go straight down, and if they drive back in, pull their arm all the way across, and that lets you lock it up really nicely. Yeah? Alright, this is our 1 minute trying that, okay? 1 minute each, 3, 2, 1.